although I'm saying it neatly now, I knew just instinctively and strongly that had to be a part of the book. There were readers who disagreed and pushed back against that and said to take it out, but it's just, I didn't want to tell the story without it. It wasn't the story I wanted to tell, but if it weren't there, but nailing that and figuring out like other than as a narrator, how is this house itself, which doesn't, walk and do thing and move and, go to parties and go to schools like the kids do, or play video games like the kids do. What is its purpose here as a character? Like, what am I really trying to do? And how do I give it its own arc? So that was its own process. And then really trying to nail the voice. That wasn't something I think I did until after I signed with Molly, and she helped me with that. So it's all a process.
You started writing from the perspective of Donnybrook before you knew why you were doing it?
Well, maybe like in my subconscious, I knew, do you know what I mean? Before I figured out, I think I would say, yes. I mean, before I totally figured out the arc and before I totally figured out everything it would get, I think, Donnybrook to me, and hopefully to you, provided some humor. And I think I like that in a story that has some sad points. I really wanted that balance. But yeah, I feel like often in my stories, I just try to trust my gut and hope I'll figure it out. And sometimes, what I figure out is, oh, I didn't need that, or, oh, that part can go. But sometimes there was something I was working towards, and it takes a few drafts for me to be like, oh yeah, that's what I was working towards. So, but in terms of, I don't want no spoilers, but if you read, like, there is a whole arc, and there's just, Donnybrook does have an arc and an ending that I did not have initially for like drafts. I mean, it took a while, Rob.
I'm always excited that provides an extra level for me as a writer reading. If I see another writer doing something that's, oh, this is new and interesting. I don't believe I've read a third perspective from a house before. Go on.
Well, thanks. And I think one good thing, how I was saying way back when I did all those craft exercises with Ursula Le Guin. So she has an exercise where you tell the same like story, but like paragraph or two, and not long, but the same maybe bit of a scene from 6 different perspectives. And and none of them are a house. They're like, a fly on the wall third, a close third, first, I can't even remember them all now. But I do think, I guess I've given up on the idea that my drafting is going to be an efficient process. So I think I was like, writing from this house feels right to me, and it's funny, and I'm cracking myself up with some of this, and it's clearly getting out something I need to get out, and I'm trying to put on paper. So I'm just going to do this, and, fingers crossed that it's going to go somewhere. But I think for most writers, I mean, yes, sometimes you have to kill your darling. Sometimes your favorite sentences don't work with the plot, whatever. But you also have to be inspired by what you're writing. Mostly, you have to be excited to be doing most of it. I mean, there's always some work and some piecing it together that might not be that exciting. But, none of us know how it's going to turn out, if it's going to get published. And even if it is, it's like too much of your heart, I think, and brain space that if you're not excited about it, it's sort of like, what's the point? So I went with it. And I had early readers and some of my family members who loved the house too. So that they cheered me on significantly, which was helpful too. And I was like, is this, crazy? They're like, it's great. I mean, they're also like, yeah, I mean, of course you're going to have to clean it up. I mean, they're not, they aren't, they don't just tell me everything's great, which just makes it even better. But they were like, no, that's, you got something there. And I liked it. So when I did, though, have readers say like, no, you should take out the house, or why do you have the house? And, then my cheering squad at home would be like, you can't get rid of the house. The house is the best part. So, yeah, but yes, I did put it in without entirely knowing what I was doing.
Well, worst case scenario, if you were getting words on the page and teasing out the story, you go back through, you take out the house part, and you still have a draft that gets you where you're going, and you scratch that itch that you always wanted to write from the perspective of a house.
Exactly.
Yeah, an important point you made, that because of the uncertainty of publishing, you don't know how a book's going to do. You don't know if there's going to be a shipping shortage and or a pandemic impacting you while you're looking at publishing. If you're not enjoying the process of creating the thing, that's the reward.
Exactly.
You win all the Newberries later and they make great movies out of your stuff. Well, that's all icing on the cake, but the cake is the experience, right? Of enjoying writing.
100%. Exactly.